Jonathan Marchessault hits the free agency market. What is next for VGK on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights?
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. And this summer, it is definitely going to be a big one as FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. Misfit and 2023 Conn Smythe Award winner and day one Vegas Golden Knight Jonathan Marchessault is on the move after he was unable to come to terms with the Vegas Golden Knights. As soon as the window was about to open, Chris, late last night, both Frank Saravelli and Pierre LeBrun both reported that Marchessault was on the move. As expressed, of course, by us here, we felt as though things were leaning towards him not coming back. And as we guessed as well, the fan base would not be happy. And right now they are up in arms. There won't be a deal for Marchessault to come back to this market, correct? After all of this is going down?
I mean, listen, we're recording the show at 6 a.m. local. 9 a.m. local is when the floodgates open. Now, does that mean Marchessault is going to have a deal in place at 9:01 from another team? Maybe, maybe not. Could the tide still turn and Marchessault does end the day as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights? Sure. I mean, there's one thing we've learned in this town when it comes to Kelly McCrimmon and the Golden Knights. There's nothing is off the table. Anything can happen at any point. Before we get too deep into this, I do just want to express some appreciation for Marchessault and just share a very quick story. We're going back to when I ran a Planet Hollywood Poker Room, 2018, 2019, something like that. Ryan Reeves and his 7-5 Brewing Company was sponsoring a poker tournament, a charity event. Marchessault wasn't even announced. He just kind of tagged along and hung out and did what he did. He was cool with the fans, pictures, all that stuff and everything. When he arrived, I pulled him aside and I said, "Hey, can I get a tiny, tiny favor from you? Both of my kids, you're my favorite. They're your favorite player. So can you just spend 15 seconds saying hi to them on the phone, just a quick video thing?" He says, yeah, no problem. So, okay. So I set the phone up and I'm kind of holding the phone so he can see it. What does he do? He grabs the phone. He takes it out of my hand. He walks to a quiet place so he can actually, see what's happening. And next thing you know, he's got my kids showing him their karate moves. He's just asking questions. Like, he went into dad mode really fast, went into family man really fast. So just a small moment that, my kids still to this day remember, and me and Amanda talk about it all the time. And so, I do understand the emotion from the fan base when they're upset about the possibility, it's not done yet, but the strong possibility of someone like him leaving. It does kind of suck, but same breath, McCrimmon doesn't care about any of that. McCrimmon's going to do what's best, and if the Marchessault deal can't come to fruition in the next 2.5 hours, then so be it.
And definitely Marchessault, a big part of this community and a big part of youth hockey.
Yeah,
where, of course, his kids play hockey, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I know folks that know him personally, and they say he is a big, big family guy. Was VGK forthright in negotiations? That is the big question, I think, that needs
define
to be
forthright. What does that mean, Tony? I want to push back. I want to know what you mean by that.
Okay, that's a great question, though, but were they upfront and honest with Marchessault? They could have extended him at the start of the season. Let's face it, I don't believe that VGK thought that Marchessault had a 42-goal season.
No one did.
Still ahead. I think that's the big shocker to this organization. If he still went in the 20s or whatever, okay, we see him a little bit on the decline. No, he just kept coming. 42 goals, big goals. And guess what? A lot of teams are looking for a 42 goal, I should say, score. And according to your publication, the Hockey News, They're talking about, I guess Michael DeRosa is talking about potential landing spots of the Boston Bruins. The Detroit Red Wings could also be in there. A lot of teams are in the mix. And when I looked at Frank Saravelli's daily face-off rankings of free agents, we'll talk more about Steven Stamkos in the second segment. Stamkos 1, Marchessault number 2. He will get the money and the term that he commands on the free agent market. He's not going to get it here in Las Vegas. He won't get it.
Your first question, were the Golden Knights fourth, right? And I mean, we saw the two sides it wasn't that bad, honestly, when you look at what's going on right now, but you saw the two sides use the media a little bit. Marchessault came right at him directly and was very direct about where things were going and stuff. And he was at the World Series of Poker a few weeks ago. And then all of a sudden the Golden Knights, as Tony pointed out, made sure to leak a couple things to some local media about, hey, there's some conversations happening. You're still seeing some local media members expressing hope for this. And I don't know where that's coming from. I know where it's not coming from. So we'll see exactly how that goes. But were the Golden Knights fourth right? I mean, I don't know if they were as forthright as they were. I think Kelly McCrimmon wants to pay Jonathan Marchessault whatever the money was that he would have accepted 1 year ago when Marchessault approached him. And Marchessault himself said this when Marchessault approached the Golden Knights and said, "Hey, let's talk." I had to guess that number was below $6 million and probably a $3 to $4 million term. The Golden Knights would I think, at least we'll find out later today, but I think the Golden Knights would still lock him up at a 4-year term at a $6 million AAV, which I think is still undervalued for what he's done. If he were to sign with Detroit, or even heard some rumblings about Chicago, if he was to take like a 4x7 deal, you're telling me the Golden Knights couldn't find a way to get in that neighborhood? I think that tells me the Golden Knights simply didn't want him at that number.
No,
43 goals, 42 goals. 42 goals, 33 years old. He's got to be on the decline, but does he decline to 35 goals? Does he decline to 37 goals? Or does he decline to 22 goals like in 2019? I'm just throwing some numbers out there right now. I think they want to pay Marchessault for the player he's going to become and the player and the amount of money he would have asked for back in the previous offseason. And Marchessault's camp, I think, is like, listen, you waited, so give me a little something. And McCrimmon doesn't want to do it.
Again, I am honest. You're honest about this entire process. Okay. My sources have told me here 3-4 weeks ago that it wasn't going to happen. Okay. Let's just face it. And we've talked about it on this show. It's been just a really tough process for Jonathan Marchessault, who I think deserved a little bit more from this organization. Starting at the end of last season.
He poured his heart out here.
But like the entire season, he said it wore on him, right? He was a little bit worn out at the end of the season. I think they kind of pulled a VGK style silent treatment for a while there.
Towards the end of the season. I think that's very accurate.
Yeah, towards the end of the season. I don't know if they negotiated in good faith. And when they said the negotiations were continuing, I don't believe that those were real negotiations where they sat at the table and they actually tried to work out a deal. And I think
this weekend, I think it happened. I think the VGK stance, Chris, is going to be, hey, man, we tried hard and, he just didn't want what was in front of him. I've said this all along. They're going to put the blame on him. You know how the DJs, like at those cool clubs and all that, they got like those 2 little turntables or spinning things in front of them, 2
turntables and a microphone.
There's going to be a lot of 2 tables and a microphone spinning happening in the VGK media land for the next, I don't know. Listen, here's, not to get ahead of the second segment, but when something not good happens, VGK is quick to respond with something on the PR side. And whether that's going to be a Stamkos signing or another big deal or a big trade, who knows? It's all on the table, or a development camp announcement. I don't know. There's all these different things that are going to come today, and it's going to be a roller coaster of a day. I do think the Golden Knights gave Marchessault more or less the silent treatment. I do believe the two sides did give it a Hail Mary at the end. And I'm really curious how far apart they are. Could you imagine if he were to go to the Blackhawks at 4x7? Like that would be like, you can't tell me that Marchessault wouldn't have taken a $6 million AAV in a 4-year term if he's going to take $7 million to go to Chicago. $4 million on the table versus moving your entire large family from point A to point B, where the weather sucks too, and it's terrible in Chicago, or in Detroit, same thing. Where you have the tax implications and all the other reasons. Like, I'm not going to speak for Marchessault and his financial situation, but $4 million in an NHL contract can easily be swept under the rug, so to speak, with the tax savings and being a Southern Nevada resident and employed in Southern Nevada. So how far apart were the two sides? Will Marchessault give us a mega soundbite on the way out? I think he might.
And the one thing I think that folks, are talking about is the fact that Marchessault is a big culture locker room guy that's going to be sorely missed. He's the guy that
I
keeps
say it's
everyone
Cassidy,
loose.
but otherwise, yeah,
Okay,
I agree with you.
okay, but again, so Cassidy, I did want to address
That
this.
plays a part too.
So Cassidy, they were just fighting at the end of last season, didn't get along, a lot of friction, what have you, for better or worse. Of course, heat of the moment stuff, what have you, okay?
I'll give you that.
But now you had Cassidy late this season saying, oh no, I want this guy back. Is that just the company line, which I started to think?
2 turntables and a microphone.
I started to believe that Cassidy was starting to become Mr. Yes Man towards the end of the season. I could see some traces of Mr. Yes Man-itis.
I think 2 turntables and a microphone is going to be a segment sometime this week. Listen, no relationship is perfect, and Marchessault and Cassidy, I'm sure they butted heads, and that's normal and that's okay. But I've personally seen so many positive interactions with those two on the ice, off the ice, and everything. Like, no situation's perfect. You've been a manager and a leader before, and you still are now.
Allegedly. Make sure.
Allegedly, I've been in that same boat, and I've had some amazing employees that I didn't get along with. I didn't like them. That's part that happens, but you respect them and you get the job done. Maybe you don't go out for a beer after work, but and you don't agree with everything. But when you're there in that environment, you get the job done and you work it out and you have that professional courtesy. I think there was enough of that professional courtesy there where I don't think Marchessault is leaving the Golden Knights because of any friction with Cassidy. Were there concerns with Cassidy? Yeah. And listen, Jonathan Marchessault 1 year ago, basically today with his day with the Cup, whenever that was up north down there. There you go, Tony. Up north, he made the comments that it wasn't all, I think, sunshine and unicorns or sunshine and rainbows when he was referencing the relationship with Cassidy. He said there was some turmoil at times, but there was that mutual respect. I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quotes in front of me. But he did also go on to say the team likes to take their time when it comes to negotiating extensions. You don't know, kind of like Logan Thompson, making the comments. You don't know if you're going to be a Golden Knight forever and all that stuff, So there's some foreshadowing going on here. And yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack, and this might just be a show number 1 of a 2 or 3 show day today. We'll see how the tides turn.
Yeah, Marchessault on the move. We will have, of course, the latest breaking news. So again, please
keep an eye on Twitter
out
right now too, just in case,
on social media. Coming up next, how does VGK plan to replace Jonathan Marchessault and his 42 goals? We'll get to that when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. And so right now, there's a lot still to bet on. A lot of folks that I know were betting on soccer this past weekend. There's Major League Baseball, of course. And don't forget or discount the WNBA. We've got Caitlin coming into town tomorrow night, and that will be a big game. And I'm sure a lot of these new fans, these bandwagoneers, will be betting on those games as well. So check it out daily. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Start making the most of your summer. FanDuel.com again, and the /locked on, and make sure FanDuel, you check it out, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back. I'm always editing things, on the show. as we go, real time, in my mind, and making up some things along the way.
Speaking of editing, there you go. Good luck in your future endeavors, Marchessault.
So this thing, that little graphic you made there, perfection, went viral last night.
Kind of, yeah. Sorry, my focus was getting ready to back up. We're up to 20,000. Oops. I mean, listen, just having some fun, and I made a comment.
It was fun, but a lot of fans didn't take it as such.
I could care less. So I mean, listen, on Saturday the team was putting out the thank yous for LT, and geez, Logan Thompson, old news. We haven't even addressed Paul Cotter that much.
Cotter, we will. Right, we can do that in this. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, later. No, 2 turntables and a microphone. Got it. But yeah, Paul Cotter. So I put a comment. Hey, I wonder if number 81 has one of these ready to go. And then, sure enough, when Saravelli and everyone was talking last night, it felt like the right time to put that out there right now. So I mean, listen, we're having a little fun with this too, and that's okay. It's okay to have fun, folks.
On a serious note, I really do not believe that VGK was prepared for this moment. If you're banking on,
they've been prepared for the last 2 months. They knew they were.
No, they haven't. No, they have not. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because now the waters are murky. There's not a lot of right wingers still out there that they can take and put in for 42 goals or even 30 goals or such. When you take a look at the free agent market, number one. Number two, they're talking Steven Stamkos. They didn't know if he was going to sign with Tampa Bay or not, but there's a whole lot of just noise around him. They're talking VGK, they're talking Boston and Nashville. The LA Kings are in it. The Rangers are in the hunt. Detroit, and you're talking about teams, Chris, that will have some cap money to be spending on a Steven Stamkos. Another note, Stamkos, folks, is a center. So will this mean the end of the
left wing, according to
slash left wing? Okay, and Cassidy said you could never have enough setters on your team. I don't agree with that. Okay, that's neither here nor there. But now the forgotten man Chandler Stevenson would get bumped out of the picture. Holy smokes, they were not prepared. They thought they were. They had another plan. I think Mitch Marner was part of that plan, but now we understand he's going to stay in Toronto. I think things are about to implode here, personally.
I don't know if implode is the word I'm going to use. Change, something big, and expect. I mean, I kind of saw absolute mayhem coming. I made the comment, expect to see trades that no one saw coming, and I said
it's going to be Stamkos or bust.
It really might be Stamkos or bust. And when you're looking at some of the other free agents out,
prepare for this. Come on, man.
No, but again, the Golden Knights, I think, are very good at adjusting on the fly. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, they don't make an Anthony Mantha type decision here again. But
Mantha, by the way, is going to Calgary. They said they need a big body. He's just that.
Good luck in your future endeavors. There we go.
Fastest big body I've ever seen.
Go ahead. I mean, listen, let's talk Stamkos for a second here. And listed as a center / left winger, finished the playoffs as a center. So, I mean, okay, a lot of cooks in the kitchen here as far as centers are concerned. Jack Eichel's not going to not play center. Tomas Hertl, I think, needs to be a natural center. William Karlsson, they're going to trade him. Someone made a comment like that last night. I'm surprised you got any sleep if you saw that comment.
I saw that comment, and I was so
You did a backflip. You did a backflip.
I was celebrating. Yeah.
And then you got Nick Waugh. And again, William Karlsson, Cassidy joked he put him on the wing a couple times, like in end of game situations. And maybe I should talk to him before I do that because he's never played wing in his career. Okay, well that's a good idea. Nick Waugh, we've seen that experiment. I wish they could get Nick Waugh to perform on the wing, but it doesn't work.
Hurdle's not a winger.
No, and Tomas Hertl, we've seen that in the playoffs. Now,
oh my goodness,
maybe a full preseason, maybe Hertl can learn more about that position. I'm not saying I like it, Tony. I'm simply looking at the situation. The Golden Knights
are you going to tell me this is better than that debacle we saw last week? Are you going to tell me that VGK was prepared for this? And now, of course, if they can't get a Stamkos, things start leaning the other way. Do they go back to number 2 and overpay him, a la William Karlsson?
All right, so you're asking me if this. I will push back. I do think the Golden Knights are prepared for this.
Okay,
I do think the Golden Knights knew
complementary pieces are not going to get it done at this point.
No, but I do. Okay, let's one problem at a time here. They knew the situation with Jonathan Marchessault, and I think they knew probably 30-ish days ago that there was a number that they were going to stick to, and I think they were hoping, but setting up for the reality that Marchessault was not going to sign. McCrimmon needs to get some credit here, Tony. McCrimmon needs to get some credit here for what's happened for the last 7 years in the organization. All right. So I do think there's a plan A, which was Marchessault, a couple complimentary pieces, and off you go. They kick tires on some big deals, I'm sure, involving Mitch Marner and stuff like that. And we'll see. That can still happen. Who knows? But I can assure you that the Golden Knights are now going down the line, looking at Stamkos, looking at a Matt Duchene, looking at all these other $4, $5 to $6 million projected players, and how, Patrick Kane, obviously it's not going to happen. He's back in Detroit now.
Come on,
I'm sure that's someone that they were talking about. No, I don't think he ever was. But again, these are players that were out there right now that had the possibility. So I do think there's a plan A, B, and C in this. Now, here's the concern with Stamkos. Here's the concern.
If they don't get a trade deal, I'm just concerned about this team.
The concern with Stamkos, his projection is like $6 million right now. He supposedly turned down a weird, goofy $8 million deal for $3 million AAV. That was basically he had a retirement built into it. That was really odd. I don't know what they were trying to do there. But Stamkos is all of a sudden a really hot commodity. So if the Golden Knights do want him, they're going to have to either sell the fact that Vegas doesn't have the tax implications.
They'll overpay him,
or they're going to have to step up because
no tax in Florida either.
Well, maybe he goes. Someone commented in my card stream last night. He should sign a revenge deal with the Florida Panthers.
That would be kind of fun.
I don't know what their situation is, but oh my God, that would be great. I mean, listen, I am going to give. Are they 100% prepared? I don't think anyone's 100% prepared going into free agency. But I got to think the Golden Knights had a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and they've had 45 days to think about this. And one last thing here, and then you can go wherever you want with it. But the last time the Golden Knights, when they missed the playoffs, they came back and they rebounded pretty well. They won the Stanley Cup. Yes, the Golden Knights made the playoffs last year. I am concerned about next year, but again, the credit rating of McCrimmon in these spots when the team falters, they get a little bit better the following year. So again, I'm concerned about next year, but I'm not concerned about McCrimmon, at least in the planning phase. We'll see. We'll see if he panics. We're going to find out in 2 hours.
This is where he could go. He could go absolutely upside down. One of the wild cards that VGK acquired, according to everything that I've researched, Alexander Holtz was underutilized in New Jersey. They buried him on the fourth line. They felt as though he could have been a major contributor with this team and maybe a possibility to be a third line winger or even move up to the second line. Of course, there was no qualifying offer for Kara Schmidt this past weekend.
That's weird.
Strange. And the VGK said, no, we're still going to sign him. What if this guy takes off now? Paul Cotter, of course, is gone. I didn't think that he was the future, and I've said that repeatedly.
The future endeavors. Good job, bud.
Okay. More on Logan Thompson. He comes out and says that he asked for the trade because, and again, you'll get more opportunities outside of this franchise. But what does that tell you about VGK now, where a lot of players now are starting to look to go elsewhere? On Sunday, just stay with me, man.
I'll play with you.
On Sunday, VGK announced qualifying offers for the forward Pavel Dorofeev and defenseman Caden Korczak. Those two guys are about ready to become everyday players. And then we went through the draft picks. Again, the controversial pick and Tanner Connolly, Pavel Moisevich.
I like Moisevich. I like him. I like that.
Lucas Van Vliet, whatever. I don't know. And then Trent Zwick and guys that'll never see NHL ice. And then I told you earlier, just to bring you full circle, Anthony Matha reportedly signing with Cal Gary sometime today.
Good pause.
Is that just about everyone? I think
no. So listen, let's go Logan for a little bit, or should we save all this for the third segment and transition right now?
No, just go, man. I
Okay.
don't care. I
So really
don't believe in
quickly,
transitions. Okay.
Logan Thompson, this writing was on the wall, and I'll start by giving a lot of credit to Willie Ramirez for what he put out there in between the previous season coming into, or this is going back to the Stanley Cup season now, where Willie basically made some comments where Logan was a little bit concerned and not happy, and myself and VGK Nation pushed back against Willie, and well, right now Willie in his red suits are looking pretty good. So good
I
job.
think he's wearing the gold suit today. The gold suit.
He's got the gold and black suit, definitely.
Yeah, he'll wear the red suit. No, he'll wear the silver and black suit for Caitlin Clark on Tuesday night.
So great. All right, so credit Willie there for pointing this out a couple of years ago. Everyone pushed back, and 2 years later, well, Willie, you've been vindicated. So good job, and I owe you an apology for that one because I was the first person to lead the charge against you. So looking at Logan Thompson's situation right now, number one, Logan's betting on himself. All right, the relationship with he and Sean Burke. I've talked about this so long. People pushed back, and this is why I put my messaging out there where I effing told you that Logan Thompson was not viewed as the future of the Golden Knights. Well, that's obvious because he didn't want to be here. Number one, why didn't he want to be here? Well, because
he didn't want to be number two.
I don't think he wanted. No, I think he wanted number two. That's pretty funny, actually. I think they treated him like a number two. But I really think that the Golden Knights didn't give him enough opportunity. Burke didn't give him enough respect, and I don't think Burke handled. Cassie's going to do what Burke tells him to do as far as the goalies go. Whatever happens between Burke and Logan, I don't know. But unfortunately, Logan should have been the future goalie of this organization. Logan should have been the future, and he's not. And that's the spot where it's not on McCrimmon. McCrimmon doesn't run the on-ice activities. That's going to be on Burke and Cass.
Is that a failure on Burke? Yeah.
That's a failure on Burke. I think it's a failure because Logan's going to have a good year.
We might see some free agency moves with the coaching staff. I still feel something might be up there. They have to have scapegoats in all this, right?
In January, if the Golden Knights are on the outside looking in, it starts with Cassidy, and then the following year, if they're struggling, McCrimmon. That's just how it goes. McPhee ain't going nowhere.
Let's take a quick break here. Some of the NHL signings and transactions that you might have missed. We'll get to those when we return here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. While Mr. Golick has his sights set on the waterless boat races there at the Speedway this upcoming Wednesday night, he's going to have to dig in and do some free agency work. And don't forget, on Fridays, it's WTF. And please, folks, subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel where you find that YouTube exclusive with the Chris and Chris Jr. show pending sometimes on Saturdays. Okay, so just some notable free agent signings already, as this is a wild one in the NHL around the league. Jake Ginsel from Carolina to Tampa for a third-round pick in 2025. Tyler Bertuzzi signs with Chicago. Sam Carrick going to the New York Rangers. Patrick Kane re-upping with a $4 million deal for 1 year, plus incentives in Detroit. Stamkos, as we mentioned, number one free agent out there. Toronto signing a 4-year deal with Max Domi. How about this one? Tanner Jeannot is in the Pacific Division. He'll be playing for the LA Kings. Tampa, of course, wanted no part of him. So he was traded initially for his first, second, third, fourth, fifth round pick and Calfoot.
Nashville.
In the Nashville deal. How crazy was that deal? That's got to be one of the worst deals in NHL history. Sam Reinhart resigned. I like what
Reinhart extended. You said?
Yes, he extended.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Okay, good.
Sean Durzi, defenseman, 4x6 with Utah. Sergachev, Mikhail Sergachev.
Utah, also, really good. Good job.
Durzi and Sergachev. That'll be their number one, I guess.
That's a number one. That's a number one all day. And I saw a really
number one pairing.
I saw a great quote from a Leafs fan, and basically Utah. I mean, they're not brand new, but they are brand new. and they come in, they address like a gap in defense just really quickly without breaking the bank necessarily. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs fans are like, how can Utah just do a move like this and the Leafs aren't capable of doing something like that? I thought that was great.
Are you telling me that this will be not an automatic win when they play with that pairing and they play in Utah opponents? They'll play in Utah on the first end of the back-to-back, and then they'll come to Las Vegas? They're going to make it a little bit more difficult for this to be absolutely #rigged.
There it is.
Reportedly, okay, here's your goalie of the future for VGK, Jeremy Swayman. They're having a difficult time signing him. Did not like
the qualifying
offer,
though, so now that buys him time.
He did not like it, and now they're going back and forth.
No, he got hosed. He got 3.5 in arbitration last year. He got screwed.
Yeah, and now he's number one.
The arbitrator.
Yeah, he needs some dough. He should have went to William Karlsson's arbiter. Edmonton, Calvin Pickard, brother, a 2-year deal, $2 million.
Hey, Nate Schmidt. Nate Schmidt's getting bought out. And
Nate Schmidt is bought out. We heard that from Saravelli, I think, last week on 32 Thoughts. I think, yeah, that was on his airwaves that was going to happen. You don't want to go back to that till, but now that he's a free man, he could definitely show up for the softball game because they're losing players by the droves here. I don't know. Is Logan Thompson going to play in the softball game? That is the big
100%
question of the day.
I think the better line is how many more players.
Because management's not involved, right? Like pretty much.
No, they got nothing to do with that. Thank God.
Yeah.
So, or never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay.
So
listen, get his flowers out there. That would be nice. And
they need
because he's a goaltender. Does he also play catcher? I forget. I think he's the backstop. He's got to stop the ball from going back to the screen.
There's definitely gonna be 2 turntables and a microphone keeping an eye on things out there. I can tell you that much.
This is crazy drama.
We knew, but to be fair, this was kind of expected to some degree. Saravelli and Friedman both put it out there, expect just absolute mayhem for the first few hours of free agency and the time leading up to it. And right now we're T-minus 2 hours and 20 minutes from that moment, and it's going to be fun. And listen, this is where McCrimmon is really going to show what he's made of. This is possibly McCrimmon's toughest situation. The Golden Knights have roughly $6.9 million to work with. The number might have dropped a little bit now unless the qualifying offers haven't technically been signed yet. So the Golden Knights, the second, might still have $6.9 million to work with. We'll see how Holtz and Schmid play into that. Schmid's going to supposedly be the number 3. So Golden Knights, their first thing today is probably going to be a backup goaltender.
Who's number 2?
Samsonov. Samsonov, baby. Let's go.
All right,
listen, man. Samson, the Golden Knights, if they're going to get a goaltender in free agency right now, I said the target was simple: someone who is reliable. Samsonov has had 40 or greater appearances in each of his last 3 seasons. He's played behind that Toronto Maple Leafs Charmin soft defense. So you put him in front, behind a better defense, he's going to put up some numbers. He had a really good 22-23 season. It'll be a platoon with Adin Hill because Adin Hill, I don't see a path to him getting 50 appearances.
How much for Samsonov?
Oh, I think they can get him under $3 million. I think a 1-year bridge deal is exactly what Samsonov needs right now. Still triple the amount of Logan Thompson's salary. 2.35, so it's 3.5 Logan's salary, 3.5.
So, but they're going to have to give him more bread to come here. No,
maybe, I don't know. I mean, the issue with Logan.
What is the ceiling for the amount of cabbage that VGK can pay for goaltending? Are you going to pay $8 million for goaltenders this season?
They need to find a goalie that's willing to sign for less than $3 million. And if this daily face-off projection is on the money for Samsonov,
they were prepared for all of this. I'm curious to see how they dig out of it. I am. And Chandler Stevenson, you don't even mention Stevenson.
If the big thing today winds up right before free agency starts, that Stevenson gets a deal
for 5,
another center. I don't care. Who cares what the number is? I don't care what the number is. Stevenson's not the savior of the day.
Just sign as many centers as you can today if you're VGK.
They might. But if Stevenson is the big news, season saved, Marchessault gone, good riddance, future endeavors. But we got Chandler Stevenson. It's the Naked Gun
need a big
head slamp when they all do this in the awards ceremony when
They don't have the
Leslie Nielsen
Barbashev.
gives the gun away.
Yeah, they don't have the Barbashev fallback now, and those days are over. Wow, this
They're
is
not
going to be
over.
interesting.
No. LTIR is still a thing, Tony. You relax.
Okay, we appreciate everyone tuning in, and again,
We could have gone for an hour.
yeah, for sure. Please stand by. Of course, we needed one of those screens, where they have that pattern. Please stand by because we'll be back at any given moment as soon as some news breaks here.
Yeah, it's a two-show
myself
day
and Chris
today,
Pollock.
almost certainly.
Yeah, and we're supposed to be on the July schedule, right? We're supposed to do
we're
I don't think
jamming.
we
We
are.
got to make sure at
Yeah,
least
we're
I
not close
got
to
to make my trip. We got to get our 12 shows in early at least.
We'll just do them consecutively. Take the rest of the month off.
Maybe.
This is the Mr. Cruise Liner here. Of course, we'll tell fans about all that. That's some other time. We appreciate everyone, especially our everydayers. Not the eye roll.
No, it wasn't
The
toward you.
everydayers. Fridays are WTF day.
Overwhelming what's happening right now. It's fun.
I know it's a lot. It's a lot of fun. That's WTF. We've been honest about everything leading up to this juncture.
Maybe they'll sign Alec
it's
Martinez
not like
today. That's going to be the big announcement.
people are asking, how come you guys aren't more positive? We're just being real, and we're just giving
folks.
you the facts. We set you up for this. It should be no surprise. Of course,
we're setting this up in April.
Oh, way before that.
You're probably right.
Yeah, way before that. Is there going to be an extension soon? What are they going to do with Marchessault? Scores another goal, another two. How much do you think they were sweating up in that box? Every goal that Marchessault scored. Oh, they were sweating. Of course.
Matthias Janmark. There's our hero.
Oh, there's the hero of the day. Of course, Saturdays, the Chris and Chris Jr. show pending. But definitely make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Stand by, of course. Stay tuned. We're sure that there's going to be some more moves in action today. We appreciate you tuning in right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.
I'm just firing names here. How about Ian Cole? Okay, sorry. We're done.